to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Delicious things to eat. The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
How you doing, Holly? How's it going? How are you?
What's Pesach out?
All right, Larry, you're a Jew again. Welcome back.
I made a crazy risk, a gamble, and it's about to pay off.
So I want the Celtics to cover. I want the Celtics halftime. I want Garnett points and rebounds.
What do you know?
I don't know. I just know.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. That's the dumbest fucking bet I ever heard of.
I disagree. I disagree, Gary.
What is that?
I started it.
Are you serious? You're taking my money all over town, placing bets.
I'm having very serious second thoughts.
Are you serious right now?
I know I fucked up.
Howard, where's the money right now?
Howard, got my money? Howard! Is it too late? I'm done. It means nothing. It meant nothing. Please. Give me another shot. You like to win, right? This is no different than that.
Black Jew power, nigga.
This is my fucking way.
You think I'm stupid, Howard? You and your whole fucking family. I heard you resurface your fucking swimming pool. You know how that makes me feel?
Never
You think your life is more important than my
I don't
life?
know who said that.
I told you about how things were gonna go. You like the way things are going now?
That's my family. Get the kids out of the house.
You having a good time?
Yes. This is me. This is how I win. KJ, it's game night. You should be stretching out.
What is he, a coach?
Nah, he's just a fucking crazy ass Jew.
Harlan started out with a Rusty Smith Corona and built himself into one of the best-selling mystery writers of all time.
30 languages, over 80 million copies sold. You guys fans?
I mean, I don't do much fiction reading myself.
Big fan. I'm a big fan.
Who is that guy?
Mr. Blanc is a private investigator of great renown.
I read a tweet about a New Yorker article about you. You're famous.
The night of his demise, the family had gathered to celebrate your father's 85th birthday. And your son, Ransom, did he attend as well?
Yes, but he left early. I think Linda was upset.
Walt would get a little Irish courage in him. He'd get into it with Harlan.
What? Richard said what?
Are you baiting me, detective?
Attempting to be thorough so we can figure out the manner of death.
You mean if someone killed him? You think one of us, one of his family,
Walt.
killed him?
Mr. Blanc, I just buried my father who committed suicide. Why are you here?
I suspect foul play. I have eliminated no suspects.
Harlan was cleaning house.
Everyone in the family has possible motives.
Was Harlan planning on cutting off Joni? Did he plan to fire Walter?
Is Richard having an affair?
That's some heavy-duty conjecture.
Funny, Ransom, you skipped the funeral, but you're early for the will reading.
Up your ass.
Very nice.
You gotta do this more often. The
family is truly desperate. When people get desperate, the knives come out. This is a twisted web. And we are not finished untangling it. Not yet.
I keep waiting for the big reveal.
All of them lied to me. There is one guilty party behind it all.
You know something. Spill it.
Oh my God. Tell me what happened to my grandfather.
I think you have something you want to tell me.
Frank Sheeran. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you said right.
Under the contract, management can only fire a driver on very specific charges. So, you ever show up late?
No.
Do you have any moving violations?
No.
Do you drink on the job?
No.
You ever hit anybody?
On a job?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, then. We don't have nothing to worry about.
Now I'm a man.
I want you to meet my cousin, Russell Buffalino.
How are you?
Hi, nice to meet you.
It was like the Army. You followed orders. You did the right thing. You got rewarded.
A friend of ours is having a little trouble. Friend at the top.
Back then, there was nobody in this country who didn't know who Jimmy Hoffa was.
Get the gun out of his hand! You always charge a guy with a gun. With a knife, you run away. So you charge with a gun, with a knife, you run. Hi, Frank. Would you like to be a part of history?
Yes, I would.
Big business and the government are working together, trying to pull us apart. Something's got to be done.
What else you say? Now's not the time to not say.
We're going at war with these people. War.
Things have gotten out of hand with our friend.
You gotta sit down, everybody says so.
No, I'm not sitting down. I can't do it.
It's what it is.
What it is.
I know things they don't know I know.
It's gonna happen. Either way, he's going.
You know, I don't care whether you did it or not. That makes no difference to me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm here to defend you, right?
Right. What do you want to know? You want to know if I did it or not?
No.
Retired after.
Hello one, hello all. Welcome to the... See, I would normally say the weekend prior to this episode, but it's been a while. So welcome to the second half of September episode of Show Business. I am CP as always.
I'm Jaime Fuego from The Horror Show and Infuegotainments.
And I am Lindsey of My Two Cents and Nonsense. Hello, we missed you. Thanks for coming back. We love you.
Yes, massive apologies for 2 consecutive whoopsies, but we're back. We're here.
I think it was a whoopsie and an oopsie. But
yeah, a whoopsie and an ouchie.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and I gotta say, 3 from Hell was not worth skipping some palaver with you guys.
Oh, really?
That film sucked.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch it in a week or 2, whatever the hell it is. I think my uncle probably has it by now. The weekend that was Abominable took first with 21 million. Second was Downton Abbey with 14 million. Third was Hustlers with 11 million.
Also good for it.
Which kind of leapfrogged a bunch of things. I don't know like what happened that Hustlers just kind of re-skipped into third. Fourth, It Chapter 2 with 10 million, and fifth was Ad Astra with 10 million. I've seen one of those movies. Gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat actually.
I saw it. We spoke about it. We can always shoot the shiz on it a little bit more. But I saw Abominable.
Okay, well, go on. Is it worth 21 million?
It felt like a movie that was originally supposed to be like almost like a Chinese version of like Miyazaki or something like that. And the way like a Chinese attempt at but it's not even Chinese. It's DreamWorks. I don't know, because like the story has like a lot of it like it's about this girl who finds this abominable snowman in China, and there's this oppressive organization trying to hunt it down and stuff, and so you can kind of get this like interesting view into China, and maybe it's like supposed to be about like all the strikes and stuff. I don't know, but it's as they're escaping this government stuff, you discover that this abominable Yeti monster has like all these weird powers with nature, and like some of the ways that it's realized really reminded me of a lot of like anime and stuff like that. It was really kind of cool. It's not a great movie because it kind of falls into a lot of cliches of, oh, we're just gonna throw a bunch of jokes at the screen for the next 2 minutes. And
it's DreamWorks.
Big, yeah, exactly. Like, one big action set piece will end, and then they're like, you know what? Let's just start up another one that's got absolutely nothing to do with anything, and it's going to be over in 30 seconds, and then won't matter anymore. And they do. It's like a frustrating movie. I wanted to like it, but it was just ultimately just. I don't know. Maybe I'm too old for these kinds of movies, but it's above average. I'll give it that.
The one thing, so I guess we missed last weekend, and I kind of wanted to talk about it if my tooth didn't, slowly decay through my gums. But I believe
You say that like it's a big deal.
I believe last weekend was Downton Abbey, Ad Astra, and Rambo, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or was that 2 weeks ago?
Yes, I believe so.
I asked you either or, and you said yes.
Look, yes, no, maybe so. I don't know. Go ask someone named Joe, bro. Like, what do you want from me? All right.
What do you
know?
So I guess the long and short of what I'm trying to get to is Rambo's gone already, and Downton Abbey, I think it opened to like 31 million, and like
last week.
Yeah, it beat Ad Astra by like 12 million, and it wasn't really that close.
Or Ad Astra, damn. Yeah.
Yeah. So. People don't care about Rambo, I guess. Bad.
Well, it doesn't help when the author of the original novel outspokenly goes and trashes the movie, and he's like, it's stupid, it's violent, it has no semblance of connection with, the stuff that I originally, did in creating this character. And I mean, all of Rambo movies are fairly violent, but I haven't seen the last two of them since he decided to relaunch this franchise. I didn't see this most recent one, and I didn't see the one that was just called Rambo. But I've heard they're pretty gory, man, and just throw back to that 80s vibe, which I appreciate personally.
That was the one thing I was like, all right, gore. So, all right, I'm down. Home Alone with gore.
Yeah, violent shoot 'em ups, man. Bring them
gore
on.
alone
For it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. The only first of all, I didn't realize Downton Abbey had like a movie audience. Like I knew it was kind of a big deal on TV, but.
Well, was it a movie, or was it like one of those things where they show like the big epic episode of Game of Thrones in theaters for one night? Was there a big epic episode?
Dude,
I've never actually watched.
It's still making money.
Oh no, it's an actual film. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
And
Okay.
It's a continuation. I guess the series, everybody wanted to continue doing it, the predominance of like the supporting players and the crew and everything, but the lead actress was like, nope, I don't want to do it anymore. And so they twisted her arm to actually do this film. But the funny thing is my parents went to see it because they're big Downton Abbey fans. And I guess minor spoiler, that character, her health is implied without spoiling stuff to be in decline, and so it was almost like a way for them, if they move her character off, to continue along with all the supporting players and maybe even return to TV based on and with the way this has performed at the box office, I would not be surprised if they did a revival series of this show.
Yeah, so, 59 million domestic in 2 weeks, and I would imagine it's doing all right in the UK at the very least as well.
Yeah, it's done. It's done over 100 total, 107 worldwide as of right now. So 49 and some change foreign, and then 58 here domestic.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Watch, people in Europe think Downton Abbey is racist, and they don't watch it, so it makes like no money. We're not like this.
Well, it's
Hello, I'm a British person.
It's the best South Park joke they ever made. Was
it chapter 2 is going to cross 200 million too. So there's that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's the end of September. We couldn't have picked a better time to take a little hiatus because really, not much to talk about. Like genuinely. I will rewind to something that we were supposed to talk about on separate occasions. Okay.
Before we talk about that, actually, is this Bill Hader's biggest box office movie?
Who?
Possibly.
I am looking into that.
Oh, it chapter 2, probably.
Right? Like, let's see if I can.
Oh, Star Wars count
that.
because technically he's in Force Awakens.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's BB-8.
Yeah. So
okay,
I'm gonna guess and say
never
that's
mind.
his highest.
Yeah.
grossing.
Okay. It's among his highest.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to chime in with that I was sad, I was also super busy because it was my weekend priority was to go check out Judy because the reviews are through the roof, and I've heard it is just heartbreakingly, tragically beautiful, and it's at like 2 theaters, super far from my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, super limited, which I would imagine as we approach award season, it will get a much wider release with the kind of buzz that it's getting. But yeah, that was one that I really wanted to seek out, and just I'm off tomorrow, so yeah, maybe I can finally catch up on a movie or two.
Do you want to start with your movie that we don't have here in New York for some asinine reason?
Which one would that be?
Speaking of limited releases, Freaks, I guess. Freaks.
Yeah.
Freaks. Yeah. I saw that Lindsey actually put a review on his channel up for that.
Go me! I did the thing.
Hey, a channel.
I did this
content.
All the stuff.
I'm a YouTuber, and the movie didn't even make $500,000 at the box office.
Oh,
yeah.
We'll get to low money, but go on.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Emile Hirsch. I mean, ever since The Girl Next Door, I've been a fan of his.
Oh yeah, he was in that.
Yeah, I don't care what people say, man. Paul Dano, him, and Girl from 24, Alicia Cuthbert. That movie has a very special place in my heart.
Agreed.
But really, I enjoyed it, but it was quite low budge, and you could tell with the way that it was filmed. But I thought the performances, especially from that young girl who plays Emile's daughter, very, very strong. It did have a lot of similarities to things I'd seen before. Obviously, the X-Men connection is one thing. I got some big-time Firestarter vibes also. And I mean, with the father and his daughter on the run from these authorities. Exactly. Yeah, rest peacefully, Mr. Prodigy Singer
Twisted
Man.
masturbator.
So,
I was yelling at me without singing.
So yeah, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And, but it did go for it with the violence. I mean, it is R-rated, and I mean, there's a lot of pens through like eyeballs and stuff like that, right? I mean, it's a little on the gory side at times, but yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it. So.
Do you know?
Honestly,
who's the studio? Who's putting it out? Hey, the dog's barking. Awesome.
I think its distribution was only with AMC, and it was bought out of some film festival by a Chinese company called Welgo.
USA.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
They do lots of lower budge stuff. But,
Huh.
So yeah, they're kind of a thing, and they've released some interesting movies. And they bought this for $2 million. I kind of want to know what it cost to make, but I mean that's a good deal for those guys probably.
I also like Bruce Stern. I thought was good in it too.
Oh,
it's nice to see him still getting work, man, because he's legendary at this particular point, obviously. So
it's his first sci-fi movie since the 70s, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Wow,
like,
right?
I mean, maybe the 80s. It's been something like that. Like it's been a good minute. But yeah, I really like this movie. I wish more people had seen it. I convinced a few friends, and they all called me when they came out of it 1 at 3 in the morning, being like, "Dude, that movie was dope." But no, so the basic breakdown of it is like Fuego said, it's X-Men. I keep describing it as like indie X-Men, super low budget X-Men. In fact, if you just like randomly found this movie on TV and you just watched like 10 minutes of it, the first 10 minutes or so, you could almost miss how much superpowerishness actually gets into this movie, because it saves it for the very end, so they can go as crazy as they want. And like, yeah, you definitely do feel the constraints of it, but some of the concepts in this movie are super cool, like the way they play with time and space, and there's so many things happening in so many different locations while you're also still inside this house. Like,
it's kind of discombobulating and, dare I say, a little trippy. I was it kind of made me feel like a little like Stone Eat or something, man. So
and I'm just a huge fan of anything from the indie scene that can like go for it and try to be like on par with, you know, some of the modern action stuff. Like Snowpiercer a few years ago, and
I'm
anytime
stoked for Parasite, man. I can't wait to see Parasite.
I'm right there with you.
Could it possibly be this year's Good Time?
What was Good Time?
Robert Pattinson.
Good Time was the Robert Pattinson A24, where his brother is locked up and he's running all over town. I'd say not a chance.
Really?
But
okay.
it's. I mean, it didn't have the same critical buzz that film did.
Yeah, because that movie had like no play, and then like months later, people were like, "Whoa, where was this movie all along?" And it was just like, nobody watched it.
Yeah, once they threw it on Prime, it was like everybody started discovering it, because there's not too much to watch on Prime. Let's be fair.
Hey, maybe Freaks will find its way on Prime and get an audience then that way.
That would be cool. And, you know, this isn't me, like, you know, crapping on. It was just, it was a lot of familiar concepts, you know, and yet totally. I especially liked the cast, and you could tell they were stretching their budget massively for what they had to play with, you know, with just limited locations and stuff like that. I honestly wanted more explanation as to, you know, why things are in their current state of affairs with all of the oppression. And I just wanted more backstory, I guess, you know, and I guess they were kind of making you think, okay, if you've read X-Men comics, if you've, you know, actually seen anything similar to this, it's probably a similar situation. So just run with this small personal story that they were telling. So
I actually did have a discussion with one friend about whether or not this movie works in a world without X-Men, and I don't mean that as a detriment, like, because like you said, like it's very like you're put into this world and you're like, oh, I get it. People have superpowers, but people are scared of the people with superpowers, and they're oppressed and arrested and killed or anything like that. You know, it's the otherness metaphor that we've seen in things before. But if you don't have that to rely on, does this movie work?
Yeah.
Like, or would you be like, I don't understand. I want more. Why are they oppressed? Why are they being killed? Like, or would it start X-Men? Was something my friend brought up too. Like, in a world without X-Men, could this become X-Men?
I felt like this could be just a weird X-Men side story, one shot sort of thing, and I did enjoy it more than Dark Phoenix. So there's that.
Well, it didn't.
It's better than Brightburn. It's better than Dark Phoenix.
What's that?
I did like The Boys better, but that's not a movie.
The Boys was good. The Boys.
What's
was
that
good.
movie that Max Landis wrote? That the kid.
Chronicle.
Oh, Chronicle. Really good
Similar,
movie,
yes, no.
Dane DeHaan is terrific in that.
And Michael B. Jordan's in that movie too.
Yeah. I mean, not in aesthetic as far as it's not found footage, and whereas that would be more of an origin story, you know, with them discovering, you know, the spaceship or whatever the hell it was, and then, you know, gaining their powers. This is more like, you know, tuning in to a program that's been going for a few years already, so to speak. But
this is like season 5 of this world's hey, people have superpowers now.
Season 5.
Yeah.
Well, that's like part of the reason I really like this movie too, is like how it built its world, and like it starts so small in just this house with just this father and this daughter, and we only get to and I talked about this in my video too. Check it out on my channel at My 2 Cents.
Hey, a plug!
I got to plug a thing.
Shameless plug.
Link down below. Link down below.
Oh yes, that as well. And it just like I love that it's her scope, it's her perspective. So like they're using like that the pre-knowledge of X-Men and the fact that we're seeing it just from her point of view to suck us in and want to see where this goes. And it starts so small and it gets so big. I really enjoy the ride, and it just keeps throwing things at you too. It never really rests on its laurels. It starts the thing, but then the thing doesn't work, and so it starts this new thing. It's like it's constant. It feels like it's really always moving. It might be a little slow in the beginning, but once it starts, it starts and it does not stop.
Yeah, well, I went to see it with my lady, and she had kind of similar sentiments about the fact that as we walked out of the theater, she was like, man, I wish I got more explanation as to, how we got there. And do you think we could get a sequel? And, she was like, they leave it open for one without spoiling stuff. And I would love to see a continuation. I'm sure they made it on like a micro budget. And I mean, I would hope they have ideas for some sort of continuation.
People need to
Watch
see
this
it.
becomes the next Saw.
I can't tell if that's what kind of joke.
Well, no, I mean, not in the sense that it becomes like a violent, over-the-top horror, but it gets like this weird niche audience following, so that they do release one every year on these weird tiny budgets, and they get bigger, and weirder.
This year's October movie. This
Exactly.
October, it's such and such movie. Well, I don't think it's making much money at all, but again,
it's not in LA anymore.
Oh boy! All right, so it had its limited run and it's done.
It made $256,000.
Speaking,
that's what I was like. Yeah, I was looking at it right now.
Speaking of F-titled movies that had ultra limited runs,
yes, I saw
it's
this
time
one.
for Lindsey
Thanks
to be quiet.
CP, actually.
So the Fanatic, starring John Travolta and directed by the auteur himself, Fred Durst.
And he shamelessly plays some of his own music in the movie.
Dude.
And Devon Sawa's character is like, yeah, I used to jam this when I was younger. Yeah, this is awesome. And you're just sitting there like,
Did you see that Devon Sawa tried taking the blame for that on Twitter?
Really?
Yeah,
No.
because there was Fred Durst was getting so much heat for putting that music in his movie. Devon Sawa posted a tweet saying, that was my idea, guys. It was my thing. They just let the camera roll. And in my head, it's either Fred Durst is a terrible director for not realizing that, just having the foresight of what that was going to look like, or that's just an awful lie because, that's the least of this movie's problems.
I'm really upset with myself that I completely forgot about it and just everything that's been happening with the last couple of weeks. I really want to see it.
Actually, you don't have anything to feel bad about by missing out.
I'll be honest with you. If you had a coin and one side was Loquisha and the other side was the Fanatic, I don't know if I'd flip the coin for the sake of you'd have to watch one.
What's in the better performance, Travolta or Loquisha, dude?
See, here's
the thing that I'll say though is I don't think Devon Sawa was bad in this movie.
The cinematography's not terrible. There's decent people making the Fanatic. There's not,
unlike Loquisha.
Yeah, right. Loquisha is just like I don't know. It's flatly lit and it
is.
Go ahead.
I was just sorry, I didn't even mean to interrupt that, man, but it's just one of the strangest performances from Travolta. I don't know. Fred Durst came up with this story, and then he co-scripted it with another guy, and I just it's almost like everybody else in the film is not in on the joke, and he is it's so tough to describe just the strangeness of this performance.
It's tone deaf. You get the idea that John Travolta has this 1984 vision of what people with mental disabilities is, and he tried playing that.
Okay.
I mean, Tropic Thunder, he totally did a Simple Jack. He just just went a little too far with and they never tell you what the deal with his character is. Is he just quirky or what? But it's just tone deaf and off and terrible and I don't know. Is he the protagonist because he ends up doing things that you don't support most of the things that he's doing?
And yet you're supposed to sympathize with him, and without spoiling things, the ending, it makes it very clear who you're supposed to like align yourself with, so to speak. And I did not agree with the ending at all, but it is what it is. So.
Right. It's proficiently made. It looks okay. There's just some.
Yeah, I like the little hand-drawn animated kind of stuff that they interluded with at times. I thought that was kind of cool.
There's a ton of decisions where it's just like, why? First of all, passage of time in this movie just, I don't know. I don't think they thought about it because there's a death that happens in the second act, and then you just kind of don't hear about it again, and it's just like, oh.
Never brought up again.
Oh, yeah. And
it's addressed at the end. It helps hinge on the finale of the film, actually. But yeah, it's ignored for a good chunk of the third act.
It happens in a place that you're spending a lot of the time of the rest of the movie in the vicinity of. So you're just left wondering, well, wait a minute. Shouldn't that thing be somewhere around where somebody could see it and do something about it or notice it? And that's a minor gripe amongst other things. It's just it's not The Room. People keep trying to every year.
Well, everyone always calls everything The Room, the new Birdemic. It's like the new. Oh, it's the new Ed Wood. It's the new Shyamalan.
And I'm so pissed because Red Letter Media released their review of this movie the day we were supposed to go live last week, and I was like, son of a bitch, it's not going to sound original coming from us now. But yeah, they did I think 45 minutes on this movie, which is 42 minutes.
Hell, I'll watch the movie just so I can watch that.
That's like almost the entire runtime. It's like 100. It's like an hour and 20 minutes.
It's fascinating.
Oh,
it's fascinating. It's it's not like it's boring either. Even
no, it's actually I wanted to know what was going to happen. I genuinely did. I hate to say it, but I did. I was kind of compelled.
Right. So on a math level.
Okay.
I had this stat sheet saved for a while, but this is the lowest performer for John Travolta in his long history. On opening weekend, the Fanatic pulled in $3,153.
So was Gotti not released theatrically, the one he did for
No,
Movie Pass?
Gotti got a little bit of a push.
The Movie Pass movie didn't get released in theaters.
And that was another topic we were going to cover a couple weeks ago, was the death of Movie
Well,
Pass.
it's back. Hold that thought, because it's back.
I did see that, yeah. A new company swooped in and decided to, keep it alive.
Yeah, so on the screen I have a bunch of his other lowest performers, and it's...
Yeah, Gotti did 1.7
Yeah. Movie Pass pushed
weekend.
that. I remember I was still a member of Movie Pass when that came out, and I got that text saying, "Hey, you want to watch Gotti?" And I wanted to reply, "No." But apparently, Movie Pass. There's a company that has either bought Movie Pass or is going to buy Movie Pass. Exclusively to take that name and do something with it. They want to try and rework the brand.
They bought the name. I love it.
Well, there's not much left of the.
Right.
I mean, what is it? An office in Manhattan somewhere? Like the company was all but bankrupt.
Tiny.
Yeah. So.
Well, they've been operating in the red for a long time, from what I saw, right?
For at least a year. Like, they took out loans. I remember when I had enough was when Mission Impossible Fallout came out, and they couldn't pay for the tickets that week. And then, like, you had, like, select showings that they were letting you see, and it was just like, what is this? What am I paying for?
I think the last movie I ever saw with MoviePass was because there was a theater that was like a partner with MoviePass, so it lasted slightly longer than everyone else did. So it was Bad Times at the El Royale.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Yeah, that's why I always thought that's a good movie to go out on.
I mean, MoviePass, it deserves credit because just like we thank Blockbuster for Netflix, you thank MoviePass for something like AMC Stubs because Stubs they're doing it right.
Right. Well, to be fair, MoviePass was when they were at $50 a month, they were perfect.
They got too cute. Yeah.
Well, it was when Matthias or whatever the hell the company was that bought them out and dropped it down to $10 a month that they're like, oh, so MoviePass is gonna die.
Yeah.
Okay. And then a year later they were dead. I don't even think they lasted a year. I think they only lasted 9 months.
Yeah, no, they were just purging. They were just purging money for a bit. It was just like taking out loans and loans and loans. Yeah. But apparently, I guess to fight with AMC A-List, they're gonna try to have they're gonna try to rejuvenate MoviePass. I don't know how well that is, but MoviePass was dead for a couple of days, but apparently not so fast.
I've been trying to follow up on that. I'm looking at news stories of MoviePass. I'm not seeing anything. From a week ago, there's why MoviePass really failed. MoviePass shut down. Goodbye, you chaotic, fantastic disaster from Vox. I'm going to read that later because that's a great title for an article. But I'm not seeing anything more modern than that.
It may not have been it may not have gone through yet. It could have been a rumor too. I mean. It is just the internet.
It is a story that I saw too, though.
That's true.
So, yeah, I mean, it's floating around somewhere.
I did hear something, yeah. So there was something somewhere about something to that extent. You're not crazy, you just might be out of touch.
Well, they never offered premium services before, if I recall correctly. And that is the one thing that AMC does so awesomely. You can go see it in the Dolby, you can see it in IMAX, you can see it in 3D, and it's the same, 3 a week, regardless of what format you're checking it out in.
And
I mean, I used to buy tickets for other movies and then go into the movies that I wasn't supposed to see.
So the thing is, you're going to have to go hand in hand. AMC, I don't remember how long ago. It was recently. It was within the last 6 months or so. AMC provided numbers that an A-list member is 220% more likely to spend money on food than somebody who's just walking in and buy tickets. Movie theaters make their money on food, not on tickets. So the way AMC's looking at it, it's like, listen, we'll eat the ticket price, but if they're going to buy, $15 popcorn, we'll call it square. So
and the studio gets a large chunk of that ticket price anyway, so they're not concerned with just getting people in the doors for pretty much next to nothing because they're going to make all their money on concessions. So
here's the thing, and why A-List is working and why MoviePass worked at $50, but why it didn't work at $10. And I'm half doing a video on this, half not. So who knows? Maybe you guys are getting a sneak peek. But when you're doing $50 a month, people need to see 4 movies in order for you to not be making money off of them. When you're paying $20 a month, people need to see 2 movies a month in order for you to not be making money off of them. But when you're doing $10 a month, they see 1 movie, you lose money. And so the moment they dropped to $10, everything that they did was in the red and everything was costing them money. But at the 20 and the 50 price range, there's people out there that only see 1 movie a month, maybe 1 every 2 weeks, maybe 1 every other month. But they'll sign up for the pass because it's I could just, if I want to go see a movie, I'll go see it. And then they're just paying $20 and then not using it.
We saw 4 movies each in July, which pays for the the price of admission. But we ate shit in August. We didn't watch anything in August. We just said, here's $20 each. Enjoy it. But
and that's where my inner frugal nature just cried out this past week when I didn't see any of my 3 allotments because we were so busy with everything on the show. I was just like, no.
It's that gym membership mentality. It's like, you're paying for it, but sometimes you're just not gonna go. So
How often are you going to Planet Fitness for that 10 more? You have to go in personally to cancel, you know?
Right, exactly.
And like the old magazine model, you sign up for a year, and who knows if maybe you read 2 of them in the year, but you're still paying that yearly thing because, like, 1 or 2 of them is going to be interesting. Like,
That's where Rolling Stone has been killing me for years. I keep forgetting to cancel it, and then this pops up on my Amex like every year, and I forget all about it.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Bastards.
So, I mean, I guess it's big news, but
you're big news.
Spider-Man is back in the MCU.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Isn't it funny how when it comes to money, they can all make friends, you know?
Well, I mean, it's a 25%. Disney's getting 25%, not 50. So hey, Sony
negotiations.
Dude,
yeah, they got something. Good for them.
What got me was they're putting up 25% too. Like of who wouldn't take that deal? They're taking the same amount of risk. I mean, I don't know what the offer was when it was 50%. I don't know what the counter offer was when it was 5%, but Disney's putting up a quarter for the budget, and they're taking a quarter of the okay.
Well, but like like a quarter of like 160 million is 40 million, and like a quarter of a billion is 250 million. So you got to remember.
Yes.
Well, you're absolutely right. Logically speaking, but I mean that's why Sony had to hold out like this. Because 80 million versus 500 million. Is,
Marvel knows. Yeah. Okay, we'll give you a quarter of a dollar, and then when you make $10, we'll enjoy the 250.
Well, and still keep in mind, he's only doing 2 more appearances. There's the completion of the trilogy with John Watts presumably coming back, and then there's going to be him guesting in, I don't know, maybe it'll be Avengers 4, New Avengers, whatever the hell they end up making of that. And
New Vengers.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's what I want to call
I think in a lot of ways, this gives them time to more gracefully orchestrate his exit and to being a Sony standalone instead. So that's at least what I'm thinking. They can get the MCU ducks in order. I don't see them re-upping this deal, but hey, you never know. So
I mean, I just want to see them pay off Jameson. Like, you can't tease Jameson.
So good. And they had that little webisode thing on the web. Oh, it was great.
Like, that would just be like the ultimate cock tease to fandom everywhere. And but okay, yay. Everyone's, yay. We get our Jameson.
Yeah, Kevin Smith's tweets were the funniest over that, I gotta say.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those. They were pretty good.
So are we surprised? Is this really that big? I mean, you think about the people that were like, yeah, good for Sony, blah, 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 blah. And, there was 2 totally different sides. And now here we are right back to where we were 4 months ago. And
looks like,
now what?
Well, I mean, I'm firmly in camp, Disney has too many toys. People need to stand up to them. Hey, Sony got something out of this. Good for them. That means more people are going to try and stand up to get more out of Disney. And that's what we need. We need people fighting against Disney, not just throwing them all the bits and parts. George Lucas, hey, cool, you got your $4 billion. I'm happy for you, buddy. Go buy a country.
Yeah.
Go buy a country and make your own Star Wars movies in that country.
Yeah, now that they have Aliens and Predator, they pretty much own my childhood, which kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
They better make R-rated stuff. I don't care if you gotta dig up Touchstone Pictures or whatever it is you need to do to start making R-rated movies again, but listen, just because you're Disney doesn't mean you gotta make Alien and Die Hard and what other Fox Predator,
Predator. I think that's going to be dead in the water for
these are R-rated properties. Please.
I had so much faith in Shane Black.
Yeah,
it's not.
That was tweaked. that movie was tweaked.
I defend Shane. I saw him once live in person. I defend him.
Yeah, him and Fred Dekker working together, man. I was just like, oh my god, this is the Monster Squad. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah, no, that third act seemed like they were.
Wolfman has nards.
Wolfman does have.
So you brought up Lucas really quickly. There was a story that was pumped out, Fuego. I think you brought it up before we went live. Well, go on.
Yeah, Bob Iger has this, kind of memoirs book that he has just put out,
Memoirs
and he does go at length just to talk about the fact that I guess George Lucas claimed to have felt betrayed when he saw, Episode 7 and, Force Awakens and all that stuff, just saying that they didn't follow any of his notes and suggestions, which was kind of per the agreement and the sale of his property,
$4 billion.
For what was it, Lindsey? Like
$4 billion.
Some insane number, and that's the thing. I mean, verbal agreements are, they are what they are, but once the property was no longer his, Disney was at their liberty to do whatever the hell they wanted. And I guess people have gone on record to say to have seen the suggestions that Lucas had. It was, in fact, a completely different sort of thing as opposed to the retread, which we got from, The Force Awakens, which people had mixed feelings about.
The prequels were
I
different.
had fun with it, but yeah, they were. For better or for worse, they were definitely different. And it was even
Hopefully
more of an
it'll work.
expansion upon things of that nature, midichlorians and further investigation into all kinds of this wackiness that he was putting down. So I don't know. I mean, Force Awakens was a very safe film, and we saw with The Last Jedi, when you do something drastically different, that, it doesn't always work. I've talked to some people who think it's the best Star Wars film that's ever been made. Seriously, like friends of mine in LA who are super nerds and stuff. This one friend, Dan of mine in particular.
That's just blasphemy. So clearly the best Star Wars movie is the Clone Wars.
Well, I mean,
no, not even Attack of the Clones. Clone
Oh,
Wars.
the animated movie.
The CGI film
So,
that was put out. Yes.
like-
where everyone looks like they're carved out of wood.
This isn't the
Is it made of wood?
this isn't the first time that Lucas has kind of been meh wah about things. Like his first interview, like one of his first interviews for I think 60 Minutes it was, where he said that he sold his property to white slavers. He referred Disney as white slavers. Dude, you made $4 billion. It was a transaction. Calm down.
Yeah, and it almost feels like he wants to have his cake and eat it too.
I think
to
he's
use
a big
that
guy. He
example.
likes cake.
He might be. I think he just.
Let them eat
He
cake.
might just be jealous that both Force Awakens and Last Jedi, like, really made a lot of money, and that was kind of his deal. Like, if you see behind the scenes footage of him, like when they were shooting Phantom Menace, he's like, "Oh, well, we'll never catch Titanic." Like it. I don't think he was about making movies. He was about making money and well, he made his $4 billion. You made your money, and Disney then went and made their money.
I do really. Sorry.
No.
I just before we go into the 60-minute thing, I love. There's this one moment of just like such pure honesty from George in there when he's talking about how like what filmmaking is like gambling. The studios give you $200 million and they say go to the tables and come back with $500 million and. Like he actually almost gets like kind of teary-eyed. He gets like he almost had, I don't know. There's just something he opened up in such a way in that moment. I love it, and it's such a great encapsulation of what it is to make movies at that level. Because if you don't like look at Brad Bird, if you go and you make your passion project after all these years, Tomorrowland, it falls flat on its face. You owe Disney money, so you have to make it.
I actually like Tomorrowland.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's we're
great.
Yeah, that was one of those Disney springtime movies that it was like once a year. Here's our springtime movie that's just kind of Here's this year's version.
But then afterwards, he had to go and make Incredibles 2, and and it's fine. Hey, you made Incredibles 2, but that's just kind of how you got to pay back your money somehow, and that was I don't know. So I like that.
I mean, I love Lucas. I mean, I think we all any Star Wars fan owes him some sort of gratitude for some piece of our childhood, some piece of nostalgia. But the guy's in his own head sometimes. Like he's when he made Red Tails, he said that he was the first person to make an all black cast, and like. Said it seriously, like George needs to get out. I think he just says something sometimes where it's like, dude, what you got paid $4 billion. Look around cinema first of all before you go claiming that you made the first all black cast movie. That's insanity.
Yeah, bold statement as a white guy. I mean, come on.
Dude, slow down. Just slow down.
Well,
George.
you're a bleeding edge artist at the the very forefront of creativity until you're not, and like this is how George is handling it. I hope the Avatar movies are good, so they're worth it all. But I think we're kind of seeing it with Cameron and how he's like upset at other things that are being called strong and women empowering. When I was doing that 30 years ago with Terminator,
Well,
and,
do-
it just.
Cameron's a great director.
Yeah.
George Lucas.
Oh, he is, of course.
Directed
George
one
Lucas, not a
great
great
movie.
director. The original Star Wars, and then some would maybe argue American Graffiti, but
he's a good world builder, a creator of sorts. His stories in somebody else's hands are quite magnificent, but a great director, George Lucas is not that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I didn't mean.
Yeah. No, I wasn't implying that.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
just
okay.
he needs. You made a bunch of money and then you made money again. Just go sit on the ranch, buddy. We know they didn't take your stories. It's okay.
And history, Disney actually they've got a history of that. Look at Robin Williams in Disney. And for the record, if
Aladdin.
you're not familiar with the full. Yeah, if you're not aware of the full history on that, there's a great video by Lindsey Ellis that sums it up entirely. She's the queen of YouTube. Go check it out. But basically, Robin only did Aladdin because he didn't want to have anything to do with the marketing. He wanted the movie to be sold on the merits of the movie. He didn't want it to be sold because of him. And they screwed him, and they found a loophole, and they did it anyway. And Robin didn't work. Why am I calling this? Robin Williams didn't work with Disney for a long time after that, until they gave him like a Baroque painting or something, or an original Picasso or something like that. In addition to big public apologies, and that's what finally kind of mended things.
And that kind of broke the seal. That's why we have stuff like Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy in Shrek.
Yeah.
Animated movies used to be the animated characters. Oh, by the way, so and so is voicing this. Now it's
all about
Now Kevin Hart is the voice of Bunny Rabbit thing.
The Bunny Rabbit.
And yet he was the best part of that second film, The Secret Life of Pets or whatever. He was hilarious. His little role. That movie was charming. I actually liked it. I did.
I'm sure it's cute. I'm sure.
It's still forgettable fare, but
So
my heart goes out to you, George. I really do. But just go buy a country and make all the Star Wars.
Go back.
I'm sure candidates for sale.
Go back to the home and count restart counting your money and relax. We're almost there.
Oh my God. What if George Lucas bought Iceland just to spite Trump?
Yeah. You know what? I am curious. I'd like to know.
Don't put it past him.
I'd certainly like to know what George's 789 would be, but just for the sake of what if. But that's all. We're doing okay right now. So I've got nothing but.
Well, I guess we'll see how 9 is. That'll determine how okay.
I'm confident. Just stick the landing. Just stick the landing.
As long as we have the Mandalorian, we've got that Rogue One prequel series, because I still contend Rogue One is the best thing that has been done for Star Wars under the Disney banner. I really, really like that film. I don't know if I'd say I love it, but it's the best of the post Disney acquisition in my estimation. So
interesting.
If you discount Empire Strikes Back, the Disney era are the best looking Star Wars movies.
I don't know about that. Return of the Jedi looks those space battles look really good.
Well, on a technical level,
the fact that they pulled off some of that stuff is super impressive. And when again, I'm not going to say it's not as glossy, it's not as polished, but that was always my benchmark was the original Star. The Return of the Jedi. If you look at least this good, you're okay. But if you look worse than this, you're not.
The prequels are terrible.
Of course, yeah. That always blew my mind because the technology is more advanced, but also looks worse.
Practical, man. I mean, Jedi is my favorite. I'm definitely Randall from Clerks in that regard. And I mean, all the stuff at Jabba's palace, the set design the Sarlacc pit, that's why it's my favorite in the trilogy. The Endor stuff, decent, and I like the Emperor stuff with the shooting, lightning out of his fingers and all that, but just that Jabba palace stuff, man, that starts the movie off, that's it's laying in a bikini, my God. Anyway.
No, people should learn from it. You got it. Like, yeah, there's some things you got to CGI, but if you can make a puppet, make the goddamn puppet. It always looks better. And then you throw CGI in the puppet to make it look even better. Like look at how people just like shit bricks when Yoda showed up as a puppet in The Last Jedi. Both times I saw it in theaters, the audience went nuts when that happened.
I'm gonna repick with down the plot hole in the YouTube chat who says, "But looking good is just how much money they're throwing at it. Do you think The Last Jedi would look that good with half the budget?" And I say yes. Moving the camera does wonders for movies. And the prequels, the camera was on a tripod. You had a medium reverse, dolly shot. That's all you had. Bringing the camera in close for dramatics. That was, wow. Who would have thought?
Also,
Rian Johnson is a terrific director. Watch Brick, watch Looper. I mean, these are fantastic movies.
Yeah, I can get behind somebody saying I'm not down with the story of The Last Jedi, but technically speaking, Last Jedi is a rather well-made movie.
You still have the contrasting colors at the end with the red and the white on the planet
Themes,
there.
The whole theme of the movie is failure. There's. All right, don't get me started. We still got 3 months before we can really go crazy with this.
I know. And even
also,
the stuff on the stupid casino planet looked great. So there you go.
I was literally just about to say, and if you cut the budget in half, you know what you do? You cut the casino planet, because all that CGI cost at least half the rest of the movie, and boom, you fixed it, guys. We fixed The Last Jedi.
So I've got news, and then we'll get into Joker. There's a couple of pieces of news. Tony Todd is apparently returning as Candyman, as Candyman, which
the Candyman can, bro.
I don't know why it took them so long, but I mean,
sometimes the obvious answer isn't
he
so
looks
obvious.
He looks fine. Like what was the problem?
Oh yeah.
He looks he's like Samuel L. Jackson, man. He'll be 45 till he's 90.
And that is a Jordan Peele produced Candyman. He's not directing it. He's producing
it. Yeah, not directing it. I saw Cody mention that. He was like, thankfully, somebody finally saying produce as opposed to, you know, which the perceptive ones like us have known the whole time. But, the casual moviegoer, oh my God. Yeah. He's doing Candyman.
Some poor bastard's going to walk into Terminator Dark Fate seeing James Cameron's name on there and thinking, oh, we're back. No.
Yeah. and the way they've advertised it in the trailers, James Cameron returns to the franchise, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like,
to sit two seats behind the director while he makes all the decisions.
Yeah. Well, although they had a really good interview for THR, which was like about an hour or so, where they did this Q&A in Hollywood about 6-8 months ago. And it was him and Tim Miller, and they just gave extensive discussion about how much they had collaborated on the project. And who knows, maybe James could have been blowing smoke, but he never did anything like that for like Terminator Sega Genesis or anything like that.
He did that weird I don't know what you call it, where he pumps up the movie and he's like, you're sitting in the theater, you're looking at the screen, and there's things that you recognize, and it's just like, dude, you made the movies, what are you talking about? What? It was just so I hope he got paid handsomely for that little whatever the hell that.
Well, he's the one that told Arnold to ask for $30 million for Terminator 3. He probably asked for half the budget of the Avatar frame. He said, like, look, okay, you want me to do your little thing for this freaking stupid Terminator movie? Double my budget for Avatar.
I actually like Terminator 3.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot that's good in it. I hate the ending because it like undermines like the there is no fate thing, but there's good stuff in it. Yeah.
Well, without the ending to 3, you don't have 4, and 4
do we need 4?
Anton Yelchin's really good in that movie, and
that's right. No, you're right. Okay.
And Sam Worthington's pretty solid too. It's Christian Bale, who I went in expecting a lot from and just didn't get much of anything from, even in the director's cut.
3, 4, and 5. There's a bunch of little moments, like Rob Zombie movies. There's a bunch of little moments where you're like, you almost have it. Just you screwed it up. You made 90 minutes.
Well, and I felt that way about 3 from Hell.
It's a Rob Zombie movie.
It has moments, but as a whole, it's just.
Do you guys ever hear about the alternate endings for Terminator Salvation or whatever the one set during the war was?
The Christian Bale
The
one?
only alternate I've seen is the 1 and 2 where it's like old Sarah Connor and she's sitting in the park. That's the only alternate I've seen.
Wait.
I love that scene. So for Salvation, the ending is John Connor's dying.
The Christian Bale one.
Christian Bale, John Connor's dying. Sam Worthington, half robot, has a human heart. They take the human heart out of Sam Worthington, they put it into John Connor, and John Connor lives and does the stuff. But the original ending was supposed to be something along the lines of, or there was a bunch of I think there was one ending where Sam Worthington just killed everyone.
Yeah.
And then the movie just ends with everyone just murdered, and the robots just win. I kind of would have been down for it. That might have been fun. But the one that I always read about that I liked was so John Connor dies. He's dead. Like the savior is dead. We're all doomed. But then Sam Worthington's like, wait, we can keep the legend alive. And they take the skin off John Connor and they put it on Sam Worthington bot.
Are you kidding me?
So
Leatherface prequel.
The kooky thing is, if you think about it, it actually kind of ties into the themes of Terminator, which is fate is what you make for yourselves. The term
not actually make yourself.
That's the thing. It kind of works in a weird way. I don't know. I hope Dark Fate is good. It won't be, but I hope it won't be.
Dude,
but I hope it is.
If Rambo is any indicator, we're in trouble come November. Because yikes. In other 90s movies news, Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum are all coming back for Jurassic 6 and
7?
Jurassic World 3, Jurassic
Part 2,
Part 6, The Never-Ending Lost World.
First Blood, Rambo Part 6,
Jurassic World 3, Fallen Kingdom 2, Jurassic Park 6. No, so they're all coming back.
I want Laura Dern to shoot a velociraptor and go pew as she does it.
Do we have a director?
Oh yeah, it's Colin Trevorrow returning, the guy who directed the first Jurassic World.
They're giving him money again, huh?
Yeah, and he just directed that little 8-minute short that they put out, The Battle at Big Rock, which I actually thought was really solid. Despite being just a little 8-minute short,
that was a produced
It's effective.
Deal? I thought that was some fan film or something.
Oh no, that was Colin, kind of a little precursor. It's set a few years after Fallen Kingdom, and dinosaurs are all out, in the world, and humans are living, doing their thing, and it just kind of sets the table for what we're going to experience in the third film with. It's almost like the whole I don't know how they did the Apes franchise, in this recent prequel trilogy where it was they escaped and then slowly adjusting to a world with all of these intellectually advanced primates all over the place. It's going to be that same sort of vibe from what I've been reading. So.
Okay, I'm nervous.
I actually recommend the short, guys. Check it out. It's pretty good.
I mean,
I've been meaning to hear. I heard it was very good. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah, I have fan film shell shock, so I thought it was fan film, so I'm okay. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, we've all seen. Actually, Laura Dern is the only one we haven't seen twice in this series. We've seen.
Oh no, we saw her briefly in 3. Remember, she cameoed in 3.
You're right.
Oh, wow.
They call her. They don't call the government. They don't call the military. They don't call the police. They call Laura.
That's right.
Well, it's Sam Neill though, and the fact that he's like, should I go back and all that. Right. Boy, that third film was just spoofed too much on Screen Junkies for me with the whole Alan.
Oh my God! Yes.
He has the dream sequence and the Velociraptor's talking to him.
I love how they put that raptor in just everything now.
Yeah, everything. Anytime it's Jurassic World related or Jurassic Park related, it's so funny.
And they brought him back. He got unsnapped in the end game.
Did they?
Okay, that's enough plugging for Screen Junkies. That's enough plugging.
Yeah, but where do you how are you getting these three together? What movie? Why?
Hey, Laura Dern, you want to go to an island full of dinosaurs? Yeah, I do, Sam Neill. How about you, Jeff Goldblum? You want to go to an island? Yeah, guys, let's go. La 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 la. Oh, why did you do this? This is a terrible idea. Movie over.
Well, since presumably this one is taking place I don't know, in the U.S. or at least yeah, it's not going to be on like Isla Nublar or Isla, whatever the hell the name of the other island is. But yeah, this is presumably going to take place on the mainland through its entirety, not just like at the end of the Lost World.
Yeah,
and so yeah, I guess it makes a little more sense for the three of them to be integrated. And they are saying that it's not going to be cameo roles like with Jeff Goldblum in the previous one. It's going to be like full-fledged like performance appearance, substantial screen time.
I say
So,
just go full
Yeah, that-
Godzilla. Like just have dinosaurs just traipsing through America. Just major cities. Just
I'd love to see that
Yeah,
too. Bring
you
it
know
on.
what, we're already here. Like what do you got left? Just go ahead.
I could go for a good old dinosaur traipse.
Yeah,
that sounds
a
like a
little-
good time to me. Right?
a little
dino
dino traipse.
Little jaunt around the block. Little skip-diddy-doo-dah.
So Jason Bateman has signed on to act and direct the Clue remake, which already has Ryan Reynolds on as a co-star.
I didn't hear that. That is
Really, you
quite
didn't?
cool.
Yeah, it's been so long, and there were people telling me that like you can't remake Clue, and I'm like, honestly, I think you
It's
can.
called
and
Game
it's been
Night.
long enough.
Yeah,
and-
you can. It's called
yeah,
Game Night.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, and he was in it,
Yep,
right? Jason
right,
Bateman was
right.
in it, so.
Just take the
Did he
script.
direct
He
Game
did
Night?
No. Yeah.
Because I actually, so Jason Bateman a few years ago directed a movie I quite like called Bad Words.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah. I really, really, really like that movie. So I'm thoroughly excited to see him direct anything again. And if it's Clue, I mean, a little trepidatious because I love the original, but sure, if it's the right cast and you're really going for it, yeah, let's do it. And I trust Bateman, so sure.
Yeah, you look at that cast of Clue, and granted, maybe some of them weren't as big a deal back then as they are, like, as they ended up becoming. That's a
course,
sharp movie. Like, I really hope they get. I mean, for a female, for one of the female roles, get Kristen Wiig in there to play one of them.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna remake Clue, like. Get the heavy hitters. Ryan Reynolds is, he's sharp.
Solid.
Yeah. And that's what that movie is. It's
No Kevin Hart.
It's sharp and fast, and
Oh, Tim Curry cameo.
Yeah,
Tim Curry cameo.
Honestly, I say Michael McKean cameo, man.
Oh.
I love that guy, man. All of those mockumentaries that he went on to do, even beyond Spinal Tap, like Best of Show and For Your Consideration, Waiting for Guffman. I love those movies, man. They are so much fun, and I love the ad-libbing and the silliness and everything. But that cast was so stacked, they're going to follow a similar approach with this.
Christopher Lloyd.
I mean, I would...
Just
Yes, Lloyd. Oh, goddamn, I forgot he's in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd cameo too. Oh my God, yes. Oh, this could be cameo of the movie. Like,
I can't even remember the last time I saw Christopher Lloyd in something besides I Am Not a Serial Killer, which was actually terrific. That movie.
Was that before or after A Million Dies to Die in the West?
I want to say maybe right around the same time, a year or so.
Okay.
apart.
Okay.
So if you don't know what Clue is, my first bit of advice to you is go watch it. Please get Clue in your system before the remake comes out. I'm always one for a remake never hurts a film, but you're doing yourself a disservice going into the remake without knowing the original, because the original is if not one of my favorite comedies of all time. That's a razor sharp movie. And
wait, what if? Because Clue has this multiple endings. And that's why it's so good.
Oh yes, and they showed different ones in different theaters in the original run, if I remember right. Yeah.
What if they do that in 2019?
They could do it. They did it with what the hell was that movie that we had different endings for a couple months, maybe a year or two ago?
Oh, Holmes and Watson had different beginnings.
I just finally got around to watching that, and man,
I walked out. It's the
I
only
had
movie I've walked
such
out
high
in
hopes
years.
with those two repairing, man, and that movie was
We're talking
dog
Clue,
crap.
and then you bring up Holmes and Watson. Like, come on, man.
In the same.
Wait,
sorry, I'm
Unfriended had different endings. The sequel to Unfriended, right? That had different
It had
endings.
two different ones, if I recall.
I had the
correctly.
good one.
Yeah.
Okay, you had the good one. I don't remember which one I got. I remember that. I do remember that there were different ones though.
Yeah, no, different endings. That'd be nice, and different theaters would be good too.
Yeah. Like AMC gets one.
Why do you get all monkey?
Another ending. I don't know. I'm just excited. Shut up.
I'm just honestly curious how they're going to fill out the rest of the cast. I mean, CP makes a really good point about the ladies they bring in. I think are going to be really crucial. Wig is good. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in like a. I mean, honestly, they will probably bring in like a Melissa McCarthy or maybe a Rebel Wilson. Or I mean, hey, I would like to see an Anna Faris in something like this. I think she's talented. Yeah. She's great.
Madeline Kahn.
What's her name from Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Amy Santiago from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She would kill it as like the Scarlet or something
Madeline
like that.
Kahn
I think Kristen Bell could be
hard
good.
to replace.
Madeline
Kahn was the shit in that movie.
She was.
Yeah. But I mean, that now you're just getting the mindset that you can't get better than the original. Those people, they could pull a good cast.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's going to be really hard.
Frankenstein.
Oh yeah, Madeline
Young
Kahn.
Frankenstein.
That is Terry Garr. That is not Madeline Kahn. Madeline Kahn.
Oh, you're right.
Terry Garr was where he was carrying her, and it's the whole big knockers bit and everything. Right. And
okay, sorry.
Madeline Kahn
got
was in Blazing Saddles as well, though.
Yeah, Terry Garr also in Tootsie, I want to say.
Yes, she was.
I love Tootsie. So underrated. Well, I mean, not underrated. Just people have forgotten about it in these new age of millennials. Tootsie's fantastic. Before there was Mrs. Doubtfire, there was Tootsie.
Babysitter 2 announced, but sans Samara Weaving.
Why? They even had the post credits with her still being alive. I guess with Ready or Not and some of the other stuff she's doing, she's trying to set herself apart from Margot Robbie, the other beautiful blonde Australian girl who's about the same age. Mm-hmm. So
that's important to do.
It
is I don't really see it working without her.
Like how are you how is it apart too? Isn't without spoiling anything, isn't she kind of crucial to
I mean, maybe some of the other crazy cult kids, maybe that she tried to get to come to the little thing that they were doing that evening. Maybe they go on to torment said kid because they know what happened. I don't know. It's supposed to focus upon high school torment and bullying and silliness like that from what I was reading and some of the stories floating around. So,
it's just strange. It's not like, it's not like Samara Weaving's that big a deal where she can be turning roles down like this. I mean, it's.
Maybe she didn't turn it down. They just didn't want the money that she asked for because Ready or Not was well received, and I know she.
I want a sequel to Ready or Not, and it's gonna be Dodgeball.
Oh,
they're gonna do a crossover with the Dodgeball movie, and it's gonna be the horror game universe.
Also,
I want a Dodgeball crossover with Semi-Pro and
Jason Bateman, who's in Dodgeball briefly.
Oh, he's so good.
Oh, is the announcer?
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
It's a bold move for them, yeah.
So the last piece of news before we talk about the big movie this weekend. So Uncharted, which is a big video game on the PlayStation, has a director.
And Tom
Another one. How many directors have they had for this now?
Travis Knight signs on to direct Uncharted. Still no Nathan Fillion, which is guys, he went out and made a movie for you to show you just how much he is Nathan Drake. And
speaking of fan films, right?
Yeah, dude, that's quality right there.
That is a good one. That's a really good one. Mm-hmm. I watched that right around the time I finally watched Never Hike Alone, and that was just a fun night. Oh
boy, Never Hike Alone. There's all kinds of stuff going on in that camp, and fun announcements coming soon from us. Anyway.
Ooh. But yeah, no, isn't Tom Holland? Did I not hear that right? Isn't he signed on to
Tom Holland is. Yep, he's still attached. So.
Okay.
Love me Tommy boy, don't get me wrong, but he's not a Mal Reynolds, he's not a
I haven't played any of the games, but they have done some flashback stuff in the games from what I read, right, where they have him as like a kid or as like a young Indiana Jones type of sorts, and so that's the vibe I hear that they're trying to go for.
Oh my god, what if they do like putting a hat on Tom Holland and he looks up and it's Nathan Fillion? That'd be so cool.
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't understand Nathan. Like, it's clear Nathan Fillion is game. Like it's crystal clear he wants to do it. It's just kind of like Obi-Wan with Obi.
I bet you anything. There's some studio exec somewhere saying, that Nathan Fillion, he's too old. No, we need some young blood.
Yeah.
Please don't want to fuck that Nathan Fillion guy. That's our 1F for the show here. Sorry about that,
Yeah.
guys. But no, we need some young and hot in here.
And then the other person chimes in, hey, but he's the rookie on ABC right now, so he's still kind of young, at least young at heart. Maybe we can still throw him in there, guy.
That's absolutely right. Okay, maybe.
I'm not your guy, buddy. I'm not your guy. Anyway.
Yeah, they're gonna eventually learn that it's not about the star power. Sometimes the product itself, Uncharted is gonna get asses in seats regardless. I don't think it.
That's the thing. Yeah, people they maybe it's like also the video game-ness of it. They're like maybe they're just hesitant to pull the trigger at all, and so all of this is just testing the waters.
I bet
to see
Tomb
if it's
Raider
worth pulling the
got
trigger.
people all nervous because Tomb Raider wasn't that successful.
And neither was Assassin's Creed.
Well,
and that had
that
a big
was
name
weird.
like Fassbender.
That
Although
was-
people have argued that Fassbender isn't like big box office, like maybe people were under the impression that he was because he's been in these bigger franchises and stuff like that. But
That's
stuff that he's done
interesting.
on his own, like the snowman or snow something, whatever the hell that
I
was.
mean,
Well, that movie was
Various
bad for a
others.
lot of reasons, though.
Well, because they didn't even shoot the entire script,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
they've gone on record to say that.
I mean, when you think of
And when they say they didn't shoot 15%, you know it's 25%.
when you think of X-Men, you don't really think of Fassbender. You
Think of McKellen.
Well, I mean, you think of, at least for me, you think of Fassbender and McAvoy personally, the two of them
Yeah.
and their dynamic. That's what I personally think of, at least with this newer, incarnation that we got over the last few films. So,
Agreed.
but yeah, he wasn't the lead. It was an ensemble. So.
Right. Somebody in the chat earlier asked about our thoughts on Playing with Fire, which is the new John Cena film.
I don't know anything about it.
I know he's a firefighter,
yeah.
and it looks. Is it a comedy?
It's.
I mean, I saw the
What was
poster
that
the
Vin
other day.
Diesel movie where he was the
I did see a
babysitter?
poster.
It feels so much like that movie. What was that called? That Vin Diesel movie where he was taking care of kids.
The Sitter?
That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Sitter.
It feels like
Yeah,
that.
I would rather have the one where Hulk Hogan was like watching the kids. I'm trying to remember what the hell that one was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like John Cena actually. He's been really good in a couple of movies. The Wall, not the Great Wall, The Wall. I really liked him in.
I liked him in Blockers.
Yep.
Blockers, he
He's
was
so good
funny
in
in Blockers. Yeah, he had good
He
time.
was good in Bumblebee. He was underused, and his character didn't really have that much point, but I thought he was all right. No,
Which I still have yet to see. Yeah.
it's worth it. The Pacifier. Someone in the chat just
The
came in.
pacifier. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow. Delay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that about covers the news and the question from before. So a new movie. There's a new movie that I'm pretty sure some of us actually want to see this weekend, and we're probably going to have to talk about it regardless.
Yes.
I reject
Oh,
that.
Everyone's been talking about it already.
Maybe we get to the news regarding this movie first, because apparently somebody got nervous in Hollywood and decided to set out. I don't know what you would call it, like please don't blame us if people go and shoot people. Like, what was the press release?
Oh, from Warner Brothers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It was
I'll pull it up.
essentially. I know I had it in the notes here. Yeah, it was just basically them trying to cover their own asses to a degree. Notes the film is not an endorsement of real world violence was the direct quote. And so there have been some people who've seen it on the festival circuit. While it's received a lot of praise. It won Venice, and people are saying it. And yet I have seen a little bit of like pushback as well, where people are like, the performance is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Story's a little thin. There's not really that much that goes on. But the biggest thing that detractors have said is that it's disturbing, and it condones like violence and terrorism and all of these like really bold, brutal acts and stuff like that. And so, yeah, WB issued a statement on the 24th, so just a few days ago, where they They actually have a lengthy statement where they say, gun violence in our society is a critical issue, and we extend our deepest sympathy to all victims and families impacted by these tragedies. Our company has a long history of donating to victims of violence, including Aurora, and in recent weeks, our parent company joined other business leaders to call on policymakers to enact bipartisan legislation to address this epidemic. At the same time, WB believes that one of the functions of storytelling is to provoke difficult conversations around complex issues. Make no mistake, neither the fictional character Joker nor the film is an endorsement of real-world violence of any kind. It is not the intention of the film, the filmmakers, or the studio to hold this character up as a hero. So,
of course not. Yeah.
Well, let me put my AK away because ruin my fun.
Dr. Dre with the AK.
Well, and I guess Joaquin Phoenix on the press trail has been asked about this topic a lot, and he's stormed out of a couple interviews because so many members of the press keep just pressing him about this thing. And he's like, I've given my statements about it. I don't want to just continue trying to concoct them in some slightly differentiated fashion. It's really, it's an expression of art, and it's not necessarily condoning this character. And it does happen. I mean, anti-heroes, look at, hell, 3 from Hell is a perfect example of where these characters are doing despicable, horrible things, and you're supposed to cheer for them in the film. And I found that a little off-putting, but there's some who would probably really dig that. Natural Born Killers is another film where that's kind of the case, and it deals with media glorification of the sensationalization of violence and stuff. And I'm kind of thinking this film might have a similar just bit of dialogue about it if they're trying to cover their asses with a statement like this before it comes out. So,
well, the character of the Joker has always been like the same way that like the comedian in The Watchmen is such an over, what's the word, like a bleak satire of society itself. Like, hey, I might be crazy and kill people and I wear makeup and everything is a joke and nothing matters, but how much does society matter and all this stuff? And like you got the moment in The Dark Knight where the Joker's like, a soldier gets killed, nobody cares, but someone takes a shot at the mayor and everybody loses their minds.
Yeah.
It's, he's supposed to bring up issues in our society. He's supposed to challenge the way we perceive the way we live our lives in some way, shape, or form. And that's the point. So, to make a movie like I think a lot of this comes down to Todd Phillips' response to this stuff. Like, if Todd Phillips wasn't going out there saying, hey, you guys are just haters, left-wing bullshitters who are just trying to stir up trouble for the sake of stirring up trouble and for trying to censor art and stuff. But, dude, you made a movie that's supposed to turn a nasty mirror onto society and people are reacting to it. A, how did you not predict this? B, if you didn't predict this, are you smart enough to make the movie that you claim to have made? And C, how do you not see this coming?
Well, wait. How come they don't have to release, stuff like this before a Purge movie comes out? I mean,
that was an argument a lot of people were making. They're like, they're still making Purge movies. Remember the film we were talking about a month ago that got canceled because of this
Hunt.
sort of
The
Hunt. And so
which we still better see Jason Blum. I want to see the
Yikes!
No, the trailer looked great, man. I was really disappointed in that one. Yeah, I thought it looked awesome. Cast was really good. Girl from Glow, Emma Roberts. I mean, it was a lot of talent in that
It's
movie.
just strange, especially with something like that where our country, the loudest, minorities are really loud. And you would think that we're, an inch away from civil war. And yet there's movies like The Purge and people aren't running around and performing such acts. It's strange. It seems like if you run around and chop somebody up with a machete, okay. If you get a gun involved, whoa. Don't be crazy now.
Well, I mean, part of that is like, you don't get like mass murders with machetes, but you do get mass murders with the guns. Like, I agree that, once you start saying like, okay, you can't have this kind of violence in movies, you can't have this kind of you're on a slippery slope. That's why I'm upset that The Hunt got canceled. Like, I get it, push it back, change the release. We just had a really bad shooting. You got to respond to that in some way, but you don't just say no, this isn't a thing, because like you have to let art be art to a certain extent. And that's the other problem with Joker. Like, there's nothing wrong with making a movie like this. It's just this response that's made
right.
of this
So
thing.
people can't do drugs in movies anymore. People can't drink alcohol in movies. People can't drink and drive in movies. And like, you know, this blaming or this, you know, putting it on movies as the influence for terrible crap that people end up doing is like that's bogus. That's like so bogus.
It's all the scapegoat mentality, man. And you know, Mikey Mnemonic, shout out, buddy. He's a friend of the channels over on the other side of the pond in the UK, and he says it's only in America you're getting this kind of panic. It's madness, like they don't trust the public.
No. And it's like other. I mean, there's a lot of layers you can peel back with a lot of this.
So much. We can have like an entire hour and a half, 2 hours just talking about this topic and all the different nuances.
I'm kind of excited to see it because I'm pretty sure there's going to be more to talk about once. Because, I mean, from the trailer alone, it looks like Taxi Driver meets... What's
the
comedy movie?
What's the Scorsese one, right?
King of Comedy.
It's those two movies combined. From the trailer, at least, is what it looks like. So...
And there's nothing wrong with that. Freaks is one of my favorite movies of the year, and it's X-Men meets Hannah meets Room. Like, very literally.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It is, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Good
Interesting.
mishmash of... And I would still contend Firestarter, at least to a degrray.
Oh, right, yeah, no, yeah. There's like, yeah, that's sprinkled in as well. Don't worry, sorry. It's I don't know, like, and part of me, the other thing is like, I bet Todd Phillips and Warner Brothers, they want this controversy, they want the attention, which is, you know, the same reason why, you know, some companies will go like, oh, we're going to support Colin Kaepernick, and then everyone's like, blah, now we're going to break all our Courigs, but like Courig's like, okay, cool, that means Courig's going to show up all over Twitter, so while you guys are breaking our Courigs, you're giving us free advertisement. So like maybe this is like the movie version of that in some capacity, just playing into the controversy in order to sell more tickets.
Oh, it's the old sentiment about no press is bad press, man. At least people are talking about your movie, and the curiosity level rises with this sort of discussion. So,
and we do live in the 20. Yeah, definitely. And then you throw in the 24-hour news cycle of entertainment, and everyone's always got to have their hot takes so that they'll get noticed and picked up by Birth Movies Death or IndieWire or Screen Rant or anything like that. Everyone's got to have the thing that no one else is saying, but when everyone's trying to say the thing no one else is saying, everyone's saying the same thing.
I'm telling you that there's the two loud sides that are the vocal minority, but they're the vocal ones where if you just paid attention to the horrendous crap that's been said on the internet, you're like, man, country's a cesspool. But that, you know, that's not the case. It's just, you know, some people are like, listen, I just want to, you know, get coffee and go to work and come home and watch some Sex in the City and then go to bed and do the same thing tomorrow. Like
drink my apple tea and just, you know,
some raspberry cheesecake,
yeah.
an episode of Friends, and then bed. That's what I want to do.
Exactly.
But so the movie, it appeared like I don't know if there's been another trailer since that second one, but
no, they said that was the last trailer. That's what they at least billed it as. So.
Yeah, is that so? The one where he's on the bus and he's trying to make the little girl laugh. Do you think we're gonna get like a slow descent into whatever? I don't want to say madness, but like how do you think this story plays out? Is he a regular dude at film's beginning and kind of?
I don't necessarily anticipate regular dude. I'm gonna anticipate like a socially awkward, you know, living with his mother, as we've seen from the trailers and stuff like that. Like somebody who just has a weird time interacting already and then reaches a breaking point. And yeah, the cliche of the, you know, descent into madness and stuff. Yeah, that's what, but yet an embrace of it and a gleefulness to it that we don't typically see. Like there is nothing funny about Taxi Driver. I am thinking there is going to be like a dark humorous aspect with the fact that he is a clown, for God's sake, you know? So there is going to be maybe scenes where we're laughing at certain things and maybe we feel a little bit bad about the fact that we're laughing, but we can't help it sort of bit. But I don't necessarily anticipate this film throwing me any legitimate curveballs. I feel like it is going to be pretty straightforward, spectacular performance,
Right.
but as far as like
can't wait
twists
to see
and
what he
turns and stuff like that, yeah, I don't think it's going to do a lot of the unexpected, personally.
I've heard that there is a twist in the movie that's I don't know what it is, but it's incredibly obvious to see. Like someone I know saw it and said like you're
Totally telegraphed. You see it coming a mile away, sort of thing. Yeah.
Pretty much. Like he waited the entire movie being like, okay, so this is gonna happen, and then it happened. And
Are we tying this in somewhere to something, whether it be Batman related or?
I don't think so, because like, isn't there some other Joker movie that's in the works or some other something?
It's a Joker Harley movie, but who knows with her doing the Birds of Prey and then still being in Suicide Squad 2 and all this other stuff. They have adamantly, very staunchly stated that this is a standalone, and there is not. Like Todd Phillips went on record in the last week saying there's no connection. You know, we're not going to see him pop up in the Pattinson Batman. Like this is. Very much its own little pocket universe thing.
We'll see.
But, you know, hey, look at J.J. Abrams saying, Khan is not in my movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
get back to me when this
now.
movie hits
People buy all the
1.5
goddamn
billion.
time.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Money talks, and that changes people's minds.
Yeah. Although I was reading that Joaquin, the reason he turned down Doctor Strange was because he didn't want to be locked down for multiple pictures. And so that was why he was very much okay with doing this, because it was going to be a one and done. But, I mean, once again, you know, if his performance is very well received, but he's a quirky guy, man. I mean, you never know. I still will always think back to when he had the weird rap mockumentary, whatever, and went on Letterman. And I mean, he is a strange guy. So I don't know. We shall see.
Lindsey.
Has he ever been in a sequel?
No.
Joaquin?
Never done a franchise, sequel, anything of that nature. He claims it's not in his MO. So.
Have any of his movies been things that have gotten sequels? Because it's like
well,
there's
they're
no
talking
sequel
about
to Johnny
Gladiator.
Cash.
Oh yes, they are doing that new Gladiator film. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, he's dead.
Oh,
I don't
come
know
on,
how, I mean,
spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry, I spoiled Gladiator from 2001, the movie that the entire world has seen. By the way, Rosebud is a sled. Boom!
Damn.
A movie older than my grandpa.
See, this is where we need like sound effects, like this is like a radio show or something. Pew, 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 pew.
You turn this into a shock jock thing. The Shock Cast. Oh my god, that's a great name for it.
So are you expecting something good? But like what are your expectations going in, Lindsey?
I think I'm gonna liken the very similar vein of how I liked Fight Club. I'm like, this is dope, but people are gonna misinterpret this, and I'm gonna have to deal with idiots telling me what this movie's about for a long time.
Fuego.
Going in with moderate expectations. You know, I was really pumped initially, and I feel like after I saw the second trailer, while I liked it, I felt like I had more of a vibe of what they were going for, and there was less mystery to it, and it did feel a little telegraphed to a degree from the trailers about how everything is going to pan out. And so I'm excited, but I'm not like pumped as how like I was maybe a month and a half ago. So
I
think it's going to be like one of those things where like, oh, I love Rick and Morty. Oh, the fan base to this. Oh my god, so toxic.
Yeah. Rick and Morty fan base, man, they are too much. I swear. Sorry, Cecil. I love you, man. But...
No, yeah, the fans are strange. It's like, dude, relax. It's just a sauce packet at a fast food joint. Just calm down. I'm like really intrigued. I can't wait to see it, but it's not like I can't wait to see it and discuss it with others. Where Star Wars, I can't wait to see it, discuss, and go over all the little bullshit. Whereas Joker, I'm just like, all right, well, let's see what the big deal is. And
you know what I'm really excited about Episode 9 for? Like when you watch Last Jedi in theater, like when the light speed ramming the ship happens, like when the first time I saw it, like the entire theater was silent.
And the second time I saw it, the entire theater was silent except for one kid who was like, "Mommy, why'd everyone go quiet?" It was one of the most, it was just hilarious. The entire audience clapped for that kid. It was
You know, since you circled back to Star Wars, I have to
Yay.
just ask you guys, what do you think about Kevin Feige producing a Star Wars film?
Oh,
We
right.
didn't mention that topic.
That big news.
Might be interesting.
I mean, it doesn't specify what the extent of involvement, anything like that. I feel like people were making a much bigger deal of it than was really needed, but you know, that's just me. I mean, I actually was hearing that he wants to be head of Disney when what's his face steps down. So that's bold aspirations, man.
Yeah.
But
I mean, my thing is, like, a few years ago, supposedly Feige wanted to get a Gargoyles movie going, so I don't care if he's doing Star Wars. I want Gargoyles. Yeah. And Jordan Peele's talking about it too. So, like, get the two of them together on that Gargoyles movie, and then I'll be happy.
Oh, they had a couple TNG guys on there, Jonathan Frakes, Michael Dorn. That was a great cartoon.
Okay. So what's the? I wonder if, like, so in episode 9, I wonder what the Lightspeed Ram moment's going to be. Like, is it going to be when the Emperor's when we finally know the extent that he's in the movie, and so, like, the audience is either going to start booing or start cheering? Like, that's what I'm excited for, is that moment when we finally know what the Emperor is in this movie, because I want to see how people react
Lindsey,
to that.
give me a movie that you really hate from last year.
From 2018?
Yeah.
Crap, what came out in 2018?
right, so
I wasn't crazy about Solo, but I didn't hate Solo.
I actually, upon further watches, I liked it a lot more.
See how hard a time you are trying to find a movie that you hated from a year ago?
I see where you're
The
going
Last
with this. Yeah, keep
Jedi is spoken about ad nauseum.
It's really clever. I like how you're doing this.
on a weekly basis. I don't know if Kevin Feige is needed to save Star Wars. Episode 7 and 8 are two of the four highest grossing films ever. The Last Jedi, you know, the film that everybody and their mother just can't stand, was the highest grossing Blu-ray the year it came out, above even Black Panther, above even Avengers. So, man, when it comes to Star Wars, people hate that Last Jedi, but boy, do they want to own it. My point is, you know, for people who hate this shit, they really like to talk about it a lot. I'm genuinely trying to rack my brain about something that I hate and want to talk about like that. I there's just something incredibly odd about this. Maybe it's Plinkett syndrome, like where people like
Plinkett syndrome.
I mean, you think about it. That Plinkett series with episode 1, 2, and 3, they're genius, and I think people are like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be that guy for these new Star Wars movies, and they're just not bad like that.
I have the numbers right here. Force Awakens is number 4, and Last Jedi is number 13.
Oh, are those
highest grossing of all time? Uninflated, unadjusted.
Are those domestic or worldwide?
Worldwide.
Wow.
And Rogue One is 33rd, actually, for the record.
Okay. All right. So 2 movies in the top 20, and one of them is in the top 5. I mean, it. Yeah.
Disney's ruining Star Wars. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't. I genuinely don't know what. It's just funny. I'm tempted. I want to waste time, but I don't want to waste time just making a video about how ridiculous it is that people keep making videos about how much they hate Last Jedi. It's just like, let it go.
Well,
let it go.
Plinkett kind of made a video about this when they finally did Force Awakens, when they talked about how they did a thing and now everyone's trying to do the thing, and now like everyone's just saying the same thing over and over and over.
Do you know there is a video of somebody who was bothered that Plinkett didn't take down Last Jedi enough, so they posed as Plinkett and did a Last Jedi video and gave Plinkett a hard time about it. It's just like, wow. guys, like, you know, part of the deal of those prequels was technically they weren't well made.
They were not.
And you know, these movies are proficiently made. At the very least, you may not like the story, but
I do like that The Last Jedi got people really talking about character arcs and stories, and like that was cool. The internet wasn't screaming out like, "Oh, the explosion was like boom and bam and boom." It was like, no, like this character arc doesn't make sense. Like, no, what this Luke would never like. I like that it got nitty gritty like that. That was fun and exciting. But then you'd always have immediately after that argument, then someone say, "Now let's talk about that aged like insert horrible world here," as they're talking about Rose Tico, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay, well, fuck you," because I liked Rose. And that's my second F for the show. I'm sorry.
Well, I do in a lot of ways, guys, contend that Ben Affleck in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, as Holden said it best. He's like, hey, in this era, you know, everybody has a voice and everybody chooses to use that voice to bitch about movies. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but there's a lot of truth to that, you know. Yeah, movie poop shoot. He's like poop shoot, yeah. but yeah, it's really the way that social media has. I mean, that was a 2001 film. I mean, look at just how the rage nerd culture about properties that we love has just expanded and really, I mean, just got a lot more just cutthroat and nasty as the years have gone on and stuff. And so I think people they hold these properties close to them, and then if they're dissatisfied with something, it's like vendetta from hell sort of thing, and they're just talking to a blank space as opposed to, you know, somebody in like face to face, and so it just allows the rage to just grow and be that much crazier.
And so much of internet culture, sorry, CP, so much of internet culture in like the early days was based around rage. It was based around anger. You got the angry video game nerd. You got Plinkett doing his thing and being angry and tearing stuff apart. Like there was never that positive reviewer. There was never that positive look at something until like several years later. So now a lot of people 9 years after the fact are still trying to do the stuff that the angry video game nerd was doing 10 years ago, or that nostalgia critic was doing 8 years ago and stuff like that. When the point is you should be trying to set new trends. You should be trying to do new things in the now, not worrying about people doing 5-6 years ago. And it's just a hard lesson for people to learn.
Yeah, I guess.
Hell, I'm dealing with that right now. There's a video series that me and a friend are talking about. I'm like, hey, that could be fun, but does anybody care about that anymore?
No.
So we're kind of stuck in limbo. I mean, we'll see.
But like, what is Kevin Feige going to do for Star Wars that will be, I don't new, fresh? Like it.
He'll bring in the Marvel movies. We'll see Captain.
That's where I'm skeptical, especially with how formulaic he has made many of those Marvel movies. Pretty much all of them. It's like, are you just going to go in with like, okay, this is our Star Wars prototype? Oh, well, we already had that with The Force Awakens, and it was just by the numbers sort of thing. And I enjoyed the new characters, but I'm actually not super stoked about Kevin Feige producing.
I agree.
Star Wars film. In all honesty,
I agree. Don't give me cut by numbers. I mean, like I love Force Awakens to snap you back into it, and I give credit to Last Jedi for doing stuff that is outside the box at the very least. It's just like, all right, well, here's something different that isn't a Senate argument like that. That's not the different that I want in Star Wars.
No, CP. It's either got to be Last Jedi or trade disputes. Okay, there's no in between.
Vote
purple-haired Holdo.
I call for a vote of no confidence.
That honestly,
Chancellor of Emergency Powers.
And they addressed it so perfectly on the Screen Rant pitch meeting where they were doing episode 1, and he's like, yeah, it's going to be for kids, but it's all about interdimensional politics or like intergalactic politics. And he's like, kids love intergalactic politics. Intergalactic politics is tight, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, George.
Yeah, just I don't know.
What, these guys can't go a day without space supplies? They got this reactor in the size of a city that can power our planet, and they starve to death in one day without space supplies?
But yeah, I mean, yeah, all right. Skeptical, but like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna paint by numbers Star Wars? All right, we're gonna have Force Awakens again. It's like you said, Solo. If you step away from all that backlash, Solo's an okay time. It really is. You know, they don't all have to be Infinity War. Like, it's just. I mean, Marvel has Ant-Man. Ant-Man's a great time. It's not, Captain America, $500 million. It's Ant-Man. It's a little confined story. Excuse the pun. But it's a good time. Star Wars.
I love Ant-Man.
I do too.
That's terrific.
Star Wars doesn't have to always be like this epic, grandiose thing, which Rogue One, who said it earlier that Rogue One's just quite. One of you guys said it. Did I think it?
I hate
me.
Rogue
It's
One.
my.
Jamie
It's,
loves it.
Yeah, am I hallucinating?
It's my personal favorite, and I saw a lot of derision in the comments. People were like, "Oh, it's the best," and then others were like, "Oh, it's the worst."
Yeah.
So it shows it's polarizing in
Dude,
that
that
regard.
third
but-
act is war. Welcome
Yeah.
to Star Wars. Here it is.
I do like when the weird shaped ship rams the Star Destroyer into the big shield thing. That was
The
pretty cool.
Hammerhead. Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Was it
Yeah,
called a
and that Darth Vader scene, whether or not you like it, is just about it's porn.
Oh, the yay fascism scene. Yeah, I
that
love that
Darth
scene.
Vader in the hallway scene's just,
I just love the fact that they had the balls to actually make it a suicide mission and kill everybody
Yes.
because they were drafts of they were drafts of the script where they were gonna let her character live, and I think Diego maybe as well,
Mhm.
but they were just like, it's gonna have a lot more poignance and just real just shock and awe factor if we kill all of them, let them all die.
Spoiler.
And that's what I appreciated about it actually. That's why I like sad endings like Falling Down or A Perfect World, the Clint Eastwood movie, and
Yeah.
I mean. I like those kind of super effed up endings where you're just like shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Simple.
No, I
plan,
do
that's
agree. I
another
like
one.
that Disney and Star Wars killed more people than Suicide Squad did. That tickles me pink to some extent.
Yeah. Here's and same year too. Here's your real Suicide Squad movie.
Pretty much.
Okay, so that'll do it for this week. Next time we'll actually be talking about Joker and not Star Wars. We got plenty of time to talk Star Wars.
Oh no, we'll be talking about Star Wars next week. Don't worry, sir.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Please let the Star Wars stay.
Lindsey, you have something to plug.
I already plugged it.
Plug it again just in case people joined us late.
Double
That's what she
plug. Yeah, so I made a video on that movie that nobody saw, and I hope one day we'll be able to see, called Fuego saw Freaks. Yeah, no, it's on Freaks. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. It's fun and dorky. I hope you guys like it. If you watch it, check it out. It's on my 2 cents of nonsense. And I do have a bigger project. Links down in the description down below. And I do have a project I'm talking about with a buddy. It would be huge, like the biggest thing I've ever tackled on YouTube. Ooh. So I don't know when it would even get done if we do commit to it. But I've been up till 5 a.m. the last couple of nights, learning how to edit audio in a slightly different way so that I could redub something. So we'll see what happens here, and I'll drop those little hints at what's going on behind the scenes for me.
That's full of ambit.
Ambition? Ambition? Is that the word you were going to say?
Did you say Gambit, like the X-Men?
Oh, who told you Gambit's going to star in my thing?
Fuego.
So I just the other day watched I haven't been out to a theater in the last week and a half or so, but I did watch the Between Two Ferns film, which is hilarious. Check that out on Netflix. The Will Ferrell cameo is ridiculous. But yes, I am going to get to Ad Astra as well sometime this week, and then horror show plugs. Cecil and I reviewed. It's not box office related, but we reviewed the first episode of Creep Show, which is on Shudder currently. Loved half of it, the other half not so much, but. We spent last week working on a big thing that we still can't talk about just yet, but stay tuned to the Horror Show channel on all the different social media sectors and stuff, because in about 2 weeks, Cecil has a ginormous announcement, so stay tuned.
Indeed.
Yep.
So,
we both got big stuff. Okay.
Emily just posted in the chat. We're tagging off. She's going to start streaming in a couple minutes if you want to go check out what she's got coming up. We'll be.
Oh, thank God the Brit's finally going to be here. Enough of the
twit. And we'll.
Oh God, I say that out loud.
We'll be doing our vloggy style shit for Joker, which should be coming out later on in the week. And I'm polishing up the rest of my movies for 31 on 31.
Oh yeah. Damn, that
31
starts tomorrow.
films ranked, and yikes.
31 flavors.
31 films. I think it's. I think it's 6 franchises.
I thought it was called Ships Ahoy or whatever the hell.
Oh, Texas Chainsaw
Franchises
Massacre.
Ahoy.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. No. Yeah. So until next time, we will see you at another date.
On the next time.